This Manvel City Council workshop beginning here at 5 p.m. We have 5 of 7 members present. We have an item listed here on the workshop, so I'll go ahead and read this out, and then council will step back into executive session. And Dan, please have which staff members you want to join us first, and then we'll bring back the individuals here. So this is City Council will convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, and duties of a public officer or employee, discussion and possible interview of applicants for the appointment of Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission board members. We will head back into executive session here at 5 p.m. Thank you, everyone. From executive session here at 6:04 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Oh, yes. Thank you, Bobby. So actually, we are going to scratch that, reverse it, back it up. So we are going to keep the executive session open to step back into it during the regular meeting. But we are going to call the regular meeting to order here at 6:04 p.m. We have 6 of 7 members present. I will be leading us in the invocation tonight. We had a pastor lined up who wasn't able to make it, and next meeting we're going to have Councilwoman Carmen Roby Robinson lead us in prayer. So that way she's got a little bit of time to prepare there. So if you guys please would close your eyes, bow your heads, join me in prayer. Father, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to gather here today to dispense of the people's business. In a world right now where chaos reigns, when there's uncertainty and fear, we know that your peace abounds, your goodness holds true, your love is deep, and your arms are wide open. We ask that you guide our world leaders, guide their thoughts, guide their actions. That way there may be peace and unity to those, and especially our military that have lost loved ones. Please be with them during this time as they grieve the loss of someone that they care deeply about. Thank you for everybody here. Thank you for their service to our city. Thank you for this community and the blessing that it is and the responsibility that we have to steward it appropriately. Help us do that tonight. We pray this all in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Next, I have an inspirational reading. So you guys get a double dose of me tonight. And it's actually something, it's short and sweet. I heard it a little bit earlier. And it says that the statement goes that leaders should show how they lead based on their actions, not on their words. Words can only go so far, actions go much farther. So if you can, please stand and join me in saying the pledges. First, to the U.S. flag, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and to the Texas flag, honor the Texas.
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everyone. So first, we have a proclamation to read tonight, and then we have a tenure recognition to give. So the proclamation is going to be for Sunshine Week, which is March 15th through the 21st. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but March 16th through the 21st, being Sunshine Week, is a time where we celebrate and promote open government, public records, and the public's right to know. It's celebrated each year in mid-March to coincide with the March 16th birthday of James Madison, a principal author of the Bill of Rights and a leading advocate for transparency in government. Many times our public records, our Open Meetings Act, making sure that we stay out of trouble, falls on the shoulders of our record keepers, our city attorney, our city secretary's office, our public information officer, our police department. And we appreciate all that you guys do to make sure that we operate our meetings, operate the city in a open, transparent, and lawful manner. And so by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Manvel, Texas, I proclaim March 15th through the 21st, 2026 as Sunshine Week. Tammy, Bobby, to your teams, Chief, to your team, thank you guys for all that you do. It's very much appreciated. Next, tenure recognition. Dan, Joes, are we able to present that tonight? Awesome. Joes. Doctor.
We have a tenure recognition for Chen, who's our GIS specialist, Development Services Department. Chen has completed her 5 years with the city of Manvel. I would like to say a few things about Chen. At first I thought I would prepare, then I thought, no, I would just feel it and say it here. Chen is an exceptional employee that we have, great team player, awesome coworker. It's very rare that she would say no when you go to her with an idea, with a task or anything. She'll always find a way to get things done. She's come up with several ideas, implemented new things as far as GIS is concerned. I mean, she is the founding GIS employee here in the city of Manvel. Before that, we had an outside consultant that did it. So she's seen the city's GIS infrastructure from day one, all the tools that we have, all the upgrades that we've made on GIS, it's on her. And thankfully, with our recent budget, now we're looking for an employee to offer some help for Chen, which would mean that she'll be a supervisor in the coming few days, and now she'll have more time to come up with new ideas and new systems to put in place for the city in terms of GIS. So congratulations, Chen. She's also joined by her husband, Jin. I know him also, and he's also a GIS guru. So.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3.
All right, hey, hold on, Chen, hold on. You have to come up here and say a few words. Tell us about your 5 years with the city. If you can make sure it's unmuted there, make sure.
I'm a quiet person, please. I'm so glad that I can be here. And the 5 years is like very, very quick. I can remember first day I sit here, talk with Tammy about my first day here. It's like like a dream. Like one day you just sleep, and then another, when you wake up, it's 5 years past. And I can say I know most development in Manvel, and I saw this city change a lot. From the small city become with I have to say with 100 subdivision on the map. I can see it change a lot. It's like it's a little bit complicated because it's like you see a child first day born here, and very soon it's become a young kid here. I can see a lot of the commercial things coming. It's very exciting because I still can remember first day I'm here. There's no place I can find to have lunch outside. and my coworker take me hours driving to Alvin to have lunch. That's amazing. So you can tell this amazing. Man will change a lot. Yes, and I'm so thankful I can work here for 5 years. Hopefully I can work here until my retirement, 20, 30, like that.
40 years? 40
yes,
years.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for everything you do. It's awesome. It's awesome. Next, we will head into our public hearings. Before each public hearing, we'll have a staff presentation on the public hearing item. So for this first item, Miss Ellie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Tonight, I'll be presenting a request to amend the Valencia Planned Unit Development, PUD or PUD. First, I would like to clarify that this amendment does not add any residential lots or new tracts to the previously approved PUD. The southeastern portion of the Valencia Master Plan was added through the prior amendment in 2024. The proposed amendment includes minor modifications to rear yard setbacks, temporary community signs, fence requirements. Regarding rear yard setbacks, the applicant requests reducing the minimum rear yard setback from 15 feet to 10 feet. Valencia lots are typically 120-foot deep, 120-foot deep, which is much deeper than standard single-family residential lots. Staff finds that this reduction will not negatively impact development and provides flexibility for one-story homes, aligning with the comprehensive plan goal of offering a variety of housing options. Regarding temporary community signs, the original PUD allowed 10 temporary community signs along Pollard Boulevard, Del Bello Boulevard, and Highway 6. The applicant proposing 6 additional signs at the new locations along 288 and Highway 6 intersections. Regarding fence requirements, the amendment clarifies and expands fence standards for residential and commercial lots, which include type, material, placement, and design. Residential fence types include wood public right-of-way, wood good neighbor, wrought iron, and concrete. And commercial fences include wood right-of-way and wrought iron. In comparison with city ordinance, overall the proposed PUD generally aligns with the city fence requirements. The primary difference relates to wrought boards. Under the amendment, wrought boards would be required only for good public right-of-way fences, not for wood good neighbor fences. Staff recommends including wrought boards for good neighbor fences. If the applicant provides sufficient justification and the Commission supports this deviation, staff could evaluate a potential future ordinance amendment. Additionally, the initial proposed PUD did not include fence post structural requirements. The applicant has provided a revised PUD that incorporates these requirements and reflects revisions due to plat that has occurred. Staff finds the proposed amendments support efficient development and align with the character of the Valencia pod. Staff recommends approval with conditions. At the February 23 PD&Z meeting, 2 residents spoke in opposition and 6 emails expressing concerns were received. The applicant explained the proposed changes, and PD&Z expressed support for limiting setback reductions to entire lots and ensuring fence post-structural requirements are included. This includes the staff presentation, and if you have any question, I'm happy to respond to them at the regular agenda item.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that overview. What I'll do is read out the formal public hearing. We'll then open it up to 3 calls for anybody wishing to speak on the subject of the public hearing. Please raise your hand, and then we'll come forward. I read these fast. So this is to hear input from the public regarding a proposed ordinance 2026-0-07 of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending ordinance number 2024-0-12 pertaining to zoning and development related provisions and requirements for the Valencia PUD unit development in approximate 457 acres of land located immediately east of State Highway 288 north of Highway 6, generally south of Del Bello Boulevard, and generally west of Farm to Market 1128 by amending certain provisions related to fencing requirements, sign requirements, and minimum rear yard setbacks, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof. We will now do the first call for anybody wishing to speak on the subject of this public hearing. We have 2 hand raised. I think he beat you to it, so we'll go with Mr. Russ, you first, and then, sir, we'll go with you next. If you're going to state your name and address for the record, please.
Yep. My name is Russ Bynum. I am the general manager for Hillwood Houston, and we're the developer for Pomona and also Valencia. The PUD that is before you tonight for an amendment really addresses 3 major items, as Ellie discussed. Additional signage for marketing purposes. We also have a little bit of a fence adjustment, but also what I would call fence upgrades over and above what the fence ordinance puts in there. So we've stipulated where we're going to upgrade certain fences. And then it also addresses the setbacks, really with regard to the rear yard. And as Ellie suggested and stated, PD&Z forwarded those comments with just addressing the interior rear setbacks, so not any of the lots located on the perimeter of the property, so as to back up to maybe future undeveloped land, but really on the interior of the lots to address those, going from 15 feet to 10 feet. The idea behind that is on the perimeter. Much of those lots are really metered by the 14-foot utility easements that are already there. And so going to a 10-foot rear setback on those particular lots probably wouldn't do very much because you're already subjected to the 14-foot rear UE. The 10-foot rear UE or rear setback would just allow for some additional opportunities for homeowners to expand their homes and or really mostly their patios and the structures that go along with it that attach to the homes, and that's for them to enjoy their rear yard a little bit more. I think the signage piece is a little bit obvious. Sales are starting to slow. There are fewer and fewer home buyers. And so one of the things that we heard from our builders was a lack of visibility. We're sandwiched between two wonderful communities in Del Bella Lakes and Blue Water Lakes, and it's difficult for folks to find us. So this would be another opportunity for them to come and get to us. And then the fence, and we can talk about that a little bit more as you have questions, but ideally, nobody sees the interior of the fences. All of our fences have rot boards on the exterior where you can see them from the public right-of-way. The interior rot boards are just cost prohibitive for buyers. And so if you were to replace a fence today in Lakeland, that with rot boards, because you'd have to do it with rot boards, that would cost you about $10,000. And if you share that, if you have the ability to share that with your neighbor, since you adjoin that with your neighbor, then that's going to be $5,000 if they're willing to go in with you. If they're not, you're going to have to bear that cost on your own, and that's a pretty expensive cost. Adding that rot board does cost about $1,600 to $1,800 on those types of lots, and so we're trying to do what we can to reduce that for home buyers today, but also residents in the future. And those interior fences just aren't seen from the road right-of-ways, which we think is important, and that's why our fences do have rot boards that you can see from the public right-of-way. So we think that would be a good way to compromise and accommodating to residents both today and tomorrow, and it would also probably reduce enforcement issues in the future as well. So I'm here during the public hearing, so if you guys have any additional questions, I'm here to address those. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Russ. Sir, I think you had risen your hand. Yes, sir. If you could please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Welcome, everybody. I appreciate the prayer at the beginning. That's what we all need is love. Come together and help each other. So thank you for that. So I'm Randy. I'm Randy Garrison. I live in Blue Water Lakes here, and we built a house and designed it December the 21st, 3 years ago. And so we liked it because it was kind of country out here, and we're fine with some developments. But when you go into Blue Water Lakes on Pollard Road, take a left, that subdivision, I've got to know quite a few people in that neighborhood, and it's very quiet, and it's just one way in, one way out. Some of my concerns is if they develop on down Highway 6 along us and take out them woods, are they going to open up the circle, and then we have a cul-de-sac only? And I love that because the kids that play is safe. There's nobody coming in and out unless you pretty much live there or invite someone over. So I guess I'm just want to know if y'all do develop down through there, are y'all going to keep that blocked off to keep it more safe? That's my question.
We're not able to engage back and forth during the public hearing. It's an opportunity for us to listen to the public regarding the actual hearing items. But when we get to the actual agenda item, that's when we'll be able to have more discussion with staff.
Okay, hey, perfectly. It's my first time, that's my concern. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randy. Appreciate you. We'll now do the second call for anybody wishing to speak on the subject of this public hearing. Yes, sir. If you could please come forward, state your name and address for the record, but we know each other, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is David Salazar. My voice is kind of rough tonight because of the weather. But I'm standing here for my daughter, Brittany. She runs Women's Hospital in Houston. She just can't be here. So she asked me to speak up for her. She's totally in opposition to it. She just feels like there's too much congestion here already. And she moved there on the premises to never be developed back there. That's what they told her. And, you know, coming to Manvel, I came in 1981, and all the people at that time always wanted Manvel to stay small and quiet. And I knew that would be impossible forever. But she just thinks it's a bad idea to jam all them houses back there. And she wants to keep it the way it is. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if there's room for compromise where there could be a buffer zone, but 10 feet to adjoining the property just seems, it just don't look right to her at all, and she's very uncomfortable with it. So I want to thank you all for listening to me tonight, and I'm speaking for my daughter, Brittany. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good to see you. We will now do a third call for anybody wishing to speak on the subject of this public hearing. All right, we will close this public hearing at 6:25 p.m. We have one more public hearing, and we have a staff presentation for this second public hearing.
So this second public hearing pertains to a request to abandon a portion of 40-foot wide right-of-way. This is pertaining to the project that was recently approved as a planned unit development, Manvel Crossing. So there's this existing roadway easement that divides the property into two. The applicant has requested to abandon that portion. Just to remind you, this property was in our ETJ and was recently annexed into the city limits. So that portion, the city has jurisdiction right now to consider abandonment. The entire property is proposed for a planned commercial development. And we've reviewed the situation, the request, and notices were sent to utility companies, Centerpoint Energy, to receive letters of no objection, and we've received those. Staff has also looked to make sure that no tract of land is denied access because of this abandonment of this portion. This right-of-way continues further north, and that would be within the county's jurisdiction, and some of it would be part of another residential master plan development that City Council has seen in the past. It's called Primrose. So that's the background about this request. Staff is recommending approval of this right-of-way abandonment. And at our last Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission, they are also recommending approval of this request. If you all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer at the regular agenda item.
Thank you, Jose. Same thing, I'll read off this public hearing. This is to hear input from the public regarding a proposed ordinance 2026-0-09 of the City of Manvel, Texas, finding and determining that public convenience and necessity no longer require the continued existence of a city right-of-way consisting of a tractor parcel containing 0.8440 acres or 36,765 square feet of land being a portion of a called 40-foot wide unnamed road as shown in Immigration Land Company Subdivision Section 71 according to the map or plat thereof recorded under Volume 2, page 81 to 82, Brazoria County Plat Records, BCPR, situated in HT&B RR Coast Survey, Section 71, Abstract 291, Brazoria County, Texas, vacating, abandoning, and closing said public right-of-way, authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary to attest respectively quitclaim deeds conveying the respective interest in said abandoned right-of-way to the abutting property owners, providing for severability and containing other provisions relating to the subject. We'll do the first call for anybody wishing to speak on the subject of this public hearing. Second call and third call. All right, we will close the public hearing at 6:28 p.m. For public comments, first we have the one, the only, Miss Mary Ann Atkinson. Miss Mary Ann, thank you for being here tonight. If you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you for being here.
Mary Ann Atkinson, 7425 Jordan Road. Evening, Mayor, Council, Chief, and staff. I am going to say y'all did a fantastic job on our city signs. They look fabulous. I'm so glad, I'm so honored to be part of the city, just driving in and seeing those signs. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to having the garden area around them, but they are fabulous. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Appreciate you. And then they did not fill out a comment card, but I'm going to make sure to call on them tonight. We have the CEO, Executive Director of the Chamber, Mr. Kerry Perrin, as well as the Chairman of the Board, Mr. Sam Washington, here tonight. My understanding is you guys wanted to come and talk to us for a little bit. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you, Mayor. We did fill out a comment card over there, but I maybe...
Did you turn it in to Miss Tammy?
I must have missed it.
Okay, it's all good.
Sorry about that. But we just wanted to take time. Our new chairman, Sam Washington, had this great idea that we would go to each of our cities that we represent quarterly to say, hello, thank you for everything you do, and here are some things that we think you might want to know as we continue on in this partnership of supporting our local and small businesses. First thing that I wanted to bring to your attention, if you were not there last week at our annual awards banquet, Manvel showed out pretty well. In fact, we have one of our award recipients right here for Large Business of the Year. Our friends at Camerlin Recycling won that, as well as another member of your EDC as well, Carolyn Waits. She won Volunteer of the Year award, and then we gave a special award to our friends over at the church on Masters Road, and especially the Mountain, their nonprofit. They were the recipient of the Chairman's Choice Award for all the work that they've been doing in our community over the past year. So we wanted to congratulate you guys as our city leaders for being just a part of this culture that gives back in so many important ways that we also see in our business community. We also wanted to make you aware that coming up in April, we have our business showcase right down the road at the Manvel Alvin Knights of Columbus Hall. And we would love for every one of your staff members to get there. As soon as we print out tickets, we'll make sure to drop off a big stack to your staff because we would love to have you all out there. We also, in April, have a luncheon doing our panel on public safety, and Chief Traylor has agreed to be a part of that panel for us, so we want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Thank you, Chief, for making yourself available. With that, I want to introduce you to our new chairman, Sam Washington with Golden Eagle Services.
Good evening, everyone. As you mentioned, I'm Sam Washington with Golden Eagle Services. Just been a local business owner for the past decade or a little bit more than that. And as chairman this year, we do just want to make sure that we have a strong partnership with you guys. And if there's anything that we can do to assist you guys, whether it's a new public ordinance you need help getting out to local businesses, we'd be happy to assist that. And really just to make sure that our priorities align. I know Manvel has a great, smart, and rapid growth that's been going on, and we just want to make sure that it has a strong business climate to be able to support. So if there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sam, I was hoping you'd wear your 70s attire from the gala.
I thought about it.
Thought about that. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate what you do to help support our local businesses. Any more public comment cards, Tammy? Okay. Next, we will move on to the city manager update. Manager Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to start off with an update from Development Services tonight.
So I had placed a handout at the desk, which included the development services update. This is something that, just a reminder, we present to the Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission at their alternate meetings. This time we have, in terms of pre-development, we had 3 pre-development meetings that the update is talking about. One was for an equine-assisted therapy program. It's for a property located in our open single-family residential district on Scotts Avenue. The applicant is looking to see if they can purchase the property and have some minimal development with some tracks for horses, and they have a program, therapy program for special need individuals, which includes the horse riding and all of that. We had another proposal, which is the development of a 327-acre tract at Master and Azil Road in that area. They're also considering purchasing the property and developing residential lots. It would be a master plan development. And we had another pre-development meeting in the Belcher Road oil field area, where the applicant is looking to have a mushroom cultivation type use. We did, all three applicants have said that if the project materializes, they would like to have a workshop with the city council to discuss their proposal. There's another project that is not listed, which is an ongoing discussion that we've had for last couple of years, which would be development along Masters and Belcher Road. It's about 600 acres. We had that meeting last week. They're also requesting for a workshop. So at our next city council meeting, you may have a couple of those workshops. In terms of certificate of occupancies or certificate of completion, we have the Stillwater Plaza Retail, which is the retail strip center right next to that gas station we have on Highway 6 close by. The shops at Blue Water Retail Building had their certificate of occupancy issued, and we had Memorial Hermann Medical Group primary within Manvel Town Center that was issued. In terms of commercial or non-residential ground-up construction, we have our Manvel City Hall West Wing, which y'all have already seen, and then Manvel ER was issued. And another project that is not listed on the update is the Almeida Water Well. They got their permit today.
Thanks, Joe. I'm going to circle back around on something that Joe's just mentioned, and it's in our agenda. So when we had our fall planning session, we talked about having an extended workshop at least once a quarter. And so that first one is coming up this quarter. It'll be next meeting. So the plan is to start the next workshop on March 16th at 4 p.m. And so there's a good chance that we'll have two developments that Joe's just mentioned as part of that workshop. The one that's a couple hundred acres down on Uzzle, and then and that's the Blackwell tract. And then there's one that's the Belcher tract, and that one's around 700 acres or something like that. So anyway, those will be coming to you soon. Let's see. TML, if anybody signed up for the TML mid-year conference, that's just a reminder, that's this Thursday and Friday in Sugar Land. So it's a local one. Let's see. Planning for this year's Fall Fest. So you may have seen an email go out and some correspondence on our social media. I asked Blake to go ahead and put the QR code up there. And you can see it while I'm talking about it on that big 85-inch TV that's closest to the double doors over there by Mayor Martin. So that was one of the TVs that was donated, actually, that we talked about at our last meeting. So we have 3 more spots if anybody wants to donate an 85-inch TV. It looks pretty good and pretty clear. But anyway, that questionnaire there, if you want to scan on it, it's just kind of following up from last year's Fall Music Festival. And hey, what worked, what didn't work? If you wanted exactly the same, then it'll be pretty easy to fill out the questionnaire. If there were some things that, I don't really care about that particular thing, or this was really important, or maybe you need to add something. So we're looking for feedback. That's going to be open, I believe, till March 11th, next Wednesday. So then once we have that information, and I think in the first day there was already, like 100 people or something that had filled it out. So it's on our socials, and of course it's up there. I didn't see anybody. I thought you were going to pull out your phone and just get after it right now. No? Nobody? Not one single person. Jason, come on. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. Let's see. I think that's it for tonight, Mayor. Yep, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Glad to see that the city went through getting the proper approvals as well. That's a good thing to see. We followed the process too, so it's something important. It's not rules for thee and not for me, so I like seeing that. Thank you, Joes. Thank you, Dan, for the update. We'll go on to the consent agenda. Council, any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion for the consent agenda? We have a motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Lands. We have a second from Councilman Rossi Knox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. We have no items removed from the consent agenda. So agenda item number 1, consideration and possible action to approve the first of 2 readings of ordinance 2026-0-07. We did get a staff presentation on this during the public hearing. Council, before I open it up to you guys for comments or questions, I want to address 2 of the comments we received during the public hearing. Dan Joes, Mr. Randy had the comment about, I believe, the west side of where Valencia is going to be built. That's not a subject contained within this public hearing. But is that something that we could either speak to or follow up with Mr. Randy on to get him some more details on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can follow up. And this amendment doesn't change anything in terms of how Valencia is being developed. There's no request to add lots or add a segment or add a land into the PUD. But absolutely, we can follow up after.
Okay, perfect. And so, Mr. Randy, we're going to be stepping here soon back into executive session. Before we do, we'll make sure to get some contact information and get you your questions answered there. The second one was Mr. Salazar's question on behalf or comment on behalf of his daughter, Brittany. Joe's, Dan, I think you just covered it there. So this is not adding any more land. So even if we voted against the amendments tonight, these lots would still be developed behind. It's not changing that. It's just some minor tweaks. And if my understanding is correct, between the back fence line of Blue Water, there's a 20-foot easement for a water force main, and then there'll be an additional 15 feet on top of that to the back building. So back fence of Blue Water to back building of Valencia is 35 feet?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so council, open it up, comments and or questions from any of you.
Is there an image of?
If you
that
want to mute
location?
yourself, we have.
No, I was just asking in the documents, I was trying to see if there was an image to the area that you were just describing behind Blue Water Lakes.
Do we have something in there, Dan, Joe's?
Yeah, we have the plan, but we may have to zoom in to look at the specific location we're talking about. If you look at the exhibit to the ordinance,
Would this be Exhibit A or Exhibit B?
it would be Exhibit A. If you see, the street name, I believe, is Waterglen Lane, which is within Blue Water Lakes. And if you look at the PUD document itself, that has the exhibit for Valencia, and you'll be able to locate that area in there as well. That'll be Exhibit B to the ordinance, which is the entire document, and the exhibits within that PUD document is towards the end. And it includes a colored version of the master plan, which shows the area where you have Blue Waters and Valencia connecting.
The Exhibit B, what page is it on?
On the PDF, it should be 37 of 51. I mean, if you're looking at the.
It's loading.
Oh, if you look on the screens here.
Oh. My glasses need to be stronger.
Yeah, you
It came up here.
Okay. Any other questions, Councilwoman?
No.
Council? Councilman Opliger?
So I guess I got a couple questions as far as the temporary signs is, so what are they going to be made of? How long would they be up?
Russ, if you want to come forward. Yeah, thank you.
So very good question. They would be, so we have in our PUD agreement the ability to use temporary signs, and in that PUD agreement, it says those signs would be removed upon the last sale of the home. And so we sold 175 last year, about 68 prior to that. We think on about 175 per year, so another 4 years. 3 to 4 years. If the market picks back up, it'll be faster, but probably 4 years from now, we would remove all of the signs, both within the development, which are temporary, and then the 6 that we currently have in our agreement just outside of our development. So, and they would be made of, typically we do 4x8s, or I believe in this case, a little bit larger signs made of wood, cedar posts. And again, if they, one of the comments made during PD&Z was, well, what happens if the sign fades? Well, clearly that's not a good representation of us. We're using them for marketing purposes. So we want to make sure that they look good and fresh throughout the time that they're up. And so if they do get to a point where they need to be upgraded or refaced, we would obviously do that. Our builders, which we have one represented here tonight, would not really like us to have those get deteriorated very long. So, so we would make sure that those look good and feel good, and no different than what they do today.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of, it makes sense that you would kind of maintain that because you're trying to sell something, right?
That's right.
Not just, now the fence, so let's get, when you say the fence will be stronger or better, what does that look like? How does that, because in my mind, if you have rot boards, I get the cost,
Sure.
but that just brings stability to the fence, right? So help me understand why you believe it would be better.
Yeah, so I don't know that specifically I would think that the interior good neighbor fences would be a quote-unquote better, but some of the other fences that we've outlined in the PUD are of greater quality and of greater standards than the current ordinance states. So we have concrete panel brick fencing along Pollard, which is upgraded to the ordinance fence that is required. And so we decided to go ahead and mandate that would be used along Pollard Drive in lieu of and instead of just a typical 6-foot capped wood fence with a rot board. Now, we do have a capped wood fence 3-rail with a rot board along Charlotte and Dogwood, so that is of a more upgraded standard than the standard used in the ordinance. And then that is the same standard that we use on all of our lots that you can see and visible from the roadways. So when you drive our community, you're 9 times out of 10, you're going to be looking at fences that have a cap on top, the good picket facing outward so that you can see the good picket, the good side, and then they'll have a rot board. The only fence we're asking to be reduced from the current ordinance is the good neighbor interior fence that you really don't see from any roadway or public rights-of-ways. And so that fence is still going to be a 3-rail fence. It's going to have everything that you stipulate in the current ordinance today. It just would have that rot board removed from the bottom. Now, from a durability standpoint, yes, when you weed eat up against pickets, you're going to cause some damage along the pickets. I totally understand that. But in place of that, you also don't have the extra cost associated with it. And so that's what we're trying to, I guess, really persuade you guys to understand is there is about a $1,600 to $1,800 cost to upgrade the fence with a rot board on those interior fences. And so not only is it a cost today, but it'll also be a cost 7 years from now, 10 years from now. Whenever that fence deteriorates and begins to fail, then it'll cost not only the cost that it does today. Today, they don't have to remove any fences, but 5, 7, 8 years from now, they're going to have to come in, remove all of it. It's going to cost on the order of, in today's dollars, about $40 a linear foot. And today it costs much less than that. So that's what we're trying to state.
So and what I'm hearing, you're thinking that the fence the life expectancy of the fence will be about the same with the rot board, and without the rot board with it is about the same.
Yes, we have seen, we've been in Pomona for a long time. Those fences, the grade and the quality of the pickets and the posts that we stipulate, and it's all within, really the same guidelines that y'all use in your fence ordinance. Those fences typically last anywhere from 7 to 10 years. So we don't see that there's going to be any durability or degradation with the fence we're proposing without the rot board versus the ones with the rot board.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bonner? And then we'll go Mayor Pro Tem next.
Haven't all the fences that you just stated that you have put up have a rot board right now?
So no, on sections 1 through, I'd say 9.
That was before the ordinance
That was
changed?
before the ordinance, only in sections, and we kind of did the sections a little bit out of order. So section 16 and section 10 are the new sections that do have the rot boards currently. And there's about, I'm going to guess, there's about 15 or 16 homes that currently have those.
Yeah, because I kind of disagree with your thought process there that they're going to last as long with or without. Having a fence that's 3 years old without a rot board right now and knowing the instability in that fence. I think the stability of the 2x6 rot board gives you some assistance there. It's cheaper to replace the rot board than it is to replace the pickets from the weed eating that you talked about. Plus, it goes against why we decided to do the ordinance, saying that it's not going to make a difference. It doesn't make I think it assists you in the real world, in the cost, but it's a detriment to the homeowner later down the line to not have it. I think it matters to them to have that there, and this is another deal where we're starting to picket ordinances due to building cost. We've seen it on sidewalks, we're seeing it now on fence, and I think it just takes away from the true meaning of why we upgraded the ordinance a year or so ago. So,
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem Lance?
Okay, Dan and Jose, questions for you two. I see that we have a PUD red line in this package. Has this red line been read entirely from the first letter to the last letter?
Yes.
The entire PUD, you have read it? The red line markups and the black lines?
And the way you ask, I'm a little nervous, but yeah, we've and the black portion, we've read it like on different occasion, and I'm not the only one.
On this one here?
We have staff too who's read it, yeah.
Okay. Because our history with red lines with Valencia is not that good, is it? As long as I'll stand behind it, that this has been read.
Yes, Councilman, we've read it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Regarding the signage outside of the development, I have an idea, Russ. I want to ask you a question, because the way my understanding of PUDs, the way they operate, has evolved over the years, been here a while now. So PUDs is for the geographic boundaries of the development. It's meant to be a land use document for within those boundaries. Sometimes you see some regionalization things that may come out within PUDs, but it's meant to be within those boundaries. Is that correct?
Yeah, most of the regulations, like your bulk regulations, your height, setback, land use, all of those pertain to the boundaries. Yeah.
Is it appropriate to use a PUD to allow signage for outside of the geographic boundaries of the development? I know that we're operating based off of a precedent that it already is, but it seems odd to continue to do that when other PUDs that I've researched, they focus on the inside.
Yeah, and I've seen PUDs allowing off-premise signs in some other jurisdictions, and Bobby can also pitch in and add to what I'm trying to say here is like, It's similar to like the sign regulations having allowance for off-premise sign. So like if I'm a property owner and there is a sign regulation that allows any kind of advertisement or any kind of signage pertaining to my property, but off-premise elsewhere. Now, that would require authorization from owner wherever I'm placing the sign. It may require additional approvals from other jurisdictions and entities. That's how I see it. I know I'm not 100% sure if legally we have any additional input from Bobby.
Well, I've already given my comments about why it might be legal, but still give us some problems, which I hate to do in an open meeting and give my legal reasoning, but it is unusual. I don't think I've ever seen anything outside the PUD. I know Joe says he has. I don't think I've ever seen it. But because of the repealer clause, I think it would be legal. It's just a matter of policy at that point, whether you think that's something that's worthy of granting the applicant for or not.
Okay. Russ, a question for you. These signs, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it looks like these would all be placed within a state right-of-way or a county right-of-way?
Certainly could be, and we'd have to go and get TxDOT's permission to do that.
Okay.
They don't let you just stick signs in there right away. Y'all know. And then if they are placed, within a landowner's, land or lot adjacent to it, we certainly have to go get their permission. Again, we might not get permission to do this. These are wishes and wants. We are trying to think outside of the box, so to speak, out of the box of our development, so that we can enhance our marketing efforts. We're slower than expected, and we think part of that might be visibility or lack of visibility. We've enhanced our marketing budget. We've gotten a billboard on 288 to enhance some of that directional visibility for our community. We think additional marketing dollars being spent on, physical but also digital assets will be a positive to the community. I think it'll be a positive to y'all too as we bring on more homes, enhance the tax base. It gets us building homes faster, our builders building homes faster, and gets taxes collected sooner for all of us, which I think is a good idea. Again, they're temporary. As soon as we're done, we go and clean up after ourselves, kind of a thing. So,
have there been conversations, and I'll kind of point this, Dan and Russ, to you guys about, Alvin has these really nice directional signage that's permanent, that allows developers, allows builders to promote. It also allows the city to promote. Rather than making these temporary, has there been a discussion or consideration about, let's actually make them permanent? And I think there's more leverage that way with TxDOT specifically, if we're looking to do it along a state highway, partnership. Have you guys explored that at all, or do you think there's an opportunity there?
I think there is an opportunity. We talked about it early on in the development, but I don't think it's come back up. If that's something that, that's something that we are certainly interested in at the staff level, if that's something that council would be interested in. Goodness, League City, Pearland, Alvin for sure has them, where you've got the nice city logo on the top and then sort of directional signs underneath there, this home builder this way and this development that way.
Yeah, we're building in League City, and they have those exact signs. I know Alvin does. I know Pearland does, and we'd be certainly interested if y'all engage in that. We'd love to go on those signs.
Okay.
And just to read between the lines, I think possibly would that check the box on the off-premise signs? Is that kind of what we're asking if we were to engage in something like that rather than individual separate signs?
Yeah, I think depending on the location of those, those would check a box. I think in the interim, we would love to do the temporary signs while those get developed and get thought out. We would, as soon as those are approved and erected, the other ones would go down, no doubt.
So with that, could there be an opportunity to possibly add in language to this section or within this PUD that would embody that intent? So that way there's that handshake within a document? Okay. Would it be appropriate then to, if we were to approve this tonight, to provide that direction to capture that within language that's agreed to by both parties, so that way you guys can move forward, if you get approval from TxDOT, of course.
Sure.
Move forward with your signage, but also we can get this squared away that, hey, put one up more permanent, take one down that's temporary.
And this would, of course, we can bring it back before the second reading.
Oh, it is,
with
okay,
those
2 readings.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Just one clarification, though, this would only be for the additional temporary signs that is being requested for? Okay.
Okay. Councilman Bonner, it seemed like you might want to make an amendment to pull some of the fencing stuff or to do something with fencing there?
Yeah, I would like to see this amendment. I have no problem with the first part. I have a problem with the fencing. I'd like to see that pulled off to where we still abide by the current fencing ordinance that we have. The signage there, I have one question. I like the idea of the permanent signs, but I'm worried about the placement of them. If you know which side of Del Bello that you're talking about putting them on right now, the north side or the south side?
So I think in the PUD, I think we had a location that was on the north side of Del Bello. I think the location just needs to be within that sort of geographic intersection. I think there are already some builder developer signs on that southwest side. I think it probably lends itself to being, consolidated in that area versus on the north side. So
I'm just worried about permanent signs being in the way of
permanent. Yeah, sure.
Development for the 160-acre area. That's where this is. So we would have to think about some of that before we decided where we wanted to put permanent signs at. I like the idea of them because I think they look a lot better. I like the advertising portion of it, that there's a little bit of shared revenue there then. So I like that. As far as the amendment, I'm really in favor of putting that extra language that you talk about the signs in there, while allowing them to do some temporary additions right now. But I am concerned about the fencing. I'd like to see that not go with their request to do the fencing rock board change.
Council, thoughts or questions on that? Councilman Rossi Knox, then we'll go Councilman.
Okay, you're saying rot board, is that the word?
ROT.
Can you, I come from the land of barbed wire fences and cows and horses. Can you describe to me and the folks watching that may not understand entirely what that is?
Yeah, sure. The rot board is simply, like it sort of says, that's the first board that rots, right? And a lot of times it rots due to moisture on the ground, right? Waterfalls, drainage runs off, and so that's the part that touches the ground, and so that's generally the board that goes first. You also weed eat up against it, and that can cause it to wear over time. And so typically rot boards are used so that you can just take that one off and put another one on when it does deteriorate to a point where you need to replace it. Otherwise, you have vertical pickets, and all of the pickets are subject to maybe some deterioration and such. So, and that's why we do use them on the front where you can see it from the public right-of-way. But on the interior, we, at least initially, we had decided to not use them because nobody could see them. The 3-rail that we do use does create some durability and stability, while it might not create that weed eater or moisture barrier. It does, the 3 rails does promote stability, and we also use concrete in our posts as well. So I think having that is I would call it a good compromise. I would also say that when you start dictating what to tell buyers and residents to do to their homes, sometimes it comes at the burden of additional cost. And so ours certainly has additional cost because we want it on that public right-of-way view, but we try to lessen that cost sort of behind the fence, if you will.
I appreciate the explanation.
You bet.
I guess this is a question for staff. When did we change the ordinance to require these?
about 2 years ago, I believe.
So that was this council.
Yes, sir.
I think that what I like about this council is that there's a culture that's been developed of sticking to our standards. And, if council implemented this, I think there's a reason to keep it. So I kind of echo what Councilman Bonner says about this.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
I was just going to say the same thing with Councilman Bonner. As someone who lives in Valencia, the amount of wind, the strong wind that we get, and then also when I have experienced flooding, and I know that good neighbor fence is like right in between. For me, I would imagine that having you guys continue to implement it would only help the homeowners versus the developer, kind of like what you pointed out. Because removing it, at least from what I've looked up briefly, it's cheaper on the homeowner in order to replace that small bit versus if replacing more of the fence, right? Mm-hmm. And then also with the sprinklers, soil moisture, the mulch, and just in my current yard, I just know that dampening and everything in the flooding, we've had issues with that. So I would be for still requiring that. In regards to the temporary signage, I know that is definitely needed. We've had a few Manvel residents that live in Blue Water Lakes. They're realtors for Coventry, and they came and spoke about how frustrated they were with, just folks actually knowing where Valencia is. I used to live in Blue Water Lakes, so I saw it being built, so I moved 4 minutes away, so that was pretty easy for me. But whether it was David Weekley, Coventry, Pulte, everyone that I've spoken with, they say that it's very, very hard to drive traction there. So, yeah, that has been something they were asking for.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I want to thank PD&Z for their review of this. The idea that they had to do the setbacks for the interior lots, I think, was a really good compromise. Appreciate, Russ, you guys being open to that. How's your son doing in college? He's in college now, right?
He's doing quite well.
Awesome.
We just saw him this weekend.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking.
So, Council, if you're good with it, what I would recommend is we make a motion to approve this. This is the first of 2 readings with direction to capture the changes that we've discussed, bring that forward at the next meeting, and then we can amend the PUD with capturing those changes. You guys good with that approach?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That way, gives time to work on the language, and we have those 2 weeks there. So, Council, I'll make a motion to approve the first of 2 readings of Ordinance 2026-0-07 with the direction to staff to capture the discussed changes and bring those forward at our next City Council meeting.
And Mayor, before that, if we could just list the changes real quick.
Yes, changes are to keep the rot board for the friendly fence, good neighbor fence, and to add a provision that if there's a way to work to establish permanent directional signs instead of the temporary signs, we'll do that. But we want to allow Hillwood to move forward with the temporary signage.
Got it. Thank you.
We have a second from Councilman Bonner. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes with a 5-1 vote. Thank you, everyone. Next, agenda item number 2. This is consideration and possible action to approve the first of 2 readings of Ordinance 2026-0-09. This was discussed during our public hearing. Council, do you guys have any comments and/or questions? Joe's, Dan, Tammy, just to reiterate, with this being the first of 2 readings, if we approve this tonight, next step would be determining the value for it, having that discussion with BCS. Okay. Council, do I have a motion for this agenda item? Motion to approve. We have a motion from Councilman Bonner. We have a second from Councilman Rossi Knox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. How are things going with the development, Ryan? Can you come forward and give us a brief update on it? And can you give us a brief update as to the importance of abandoning this right-of-way?
Well, sure. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all of you. So the project itself is moving along steadily and as quickly as possible. We're working closely on our drainage impact analysis. We're working on our civil design phasing there's a lot of nuances to the overall site development. As mentioned before, it's extremely flat. We've got a large detention requirement, and there's a lot of ultimate conditions that we have to account for north of us, working on Kirby Drive extension, working on utilities, and working with the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant and water plant. So it's a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on right now. But the users are extremely active. We are moving along very nicely with a great number of users that the city is going to be really excited about. So on that note, as far as the right-of-way abandonment goes, it was a kind of a uniform or a unified effort from the beginning to kind of evaluate the positive impact of taking this ordinance initiative for a number of reasons, one being kind of the efficiency of the site. Not only does it provide better site layout opportunities, it provides for more efficient drainage. As opposed to having two drainage ponds that are connected by pipes, we can create a more cohesive detention pattern. And then really, I think it starts the progressive side of the Kirby Drive extension. The entire north section, as the city continues their talks about how that Kirby Drive looks going north, we plan to extend our portion. And with that right-of-way being abandoned, hopefully this will start maybe some dominoes to see that come to fruition. So without having anything prepared, I hope that answers your question.
It does. Appreciate that. And thank you.
Thanks for having me tonight.
The importance of abandoning that right-of-way to the overall development of the project.
It's very practical, and it'll serve the development in the area well.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Oh, we have a question, Mayor Pro Tem Lands.
How is it going with Home Depot?
It's going very well. Very well. Met with them in San Antonio last week. Actually, the week before last, and we're full go.
Looks like it's going to be a done deal.
Yes.
You're my guy.
Well, thank you. I mean, look, we've got some responsibilities to deliver, like we do with the city of Manvel. So we're looking at everything very closely. We're doing some geotech sampling, understanding the soil composition, understanding what Home Depot is going to require as far as their slab goes and things like that. We're negotiating on some things of what we're going to deliver. And then it's also working with you all very soon on the timing of the utilities. But it's as good as we could have expected for it to be right now.
If there's anything we can do to help, let us know.
You'll hear. You'll hear from us.
All right.
And look forward to it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Ryan.
Wait.
Oh. All right.
I was just wondering.
Last one here. Last one.
Well, while we're asking about specific businesses, I was just wondering, have there been any conversations regarding something for like a recreational activity? I know we threw out there like a bowling alley or a dining theater or.
I remember well, which is a good thing. And I remember, the entertainment conversations and the other type of recreational opportunities. We don't have anybody lined up right now, but with this roadway abandonment, it's the first step towards creating more optionality. So right now, next to Home Depot, we are confined by, if you recall some of the exhibits that were shown, 33% of the site is detention. We hope to be able to create more net usable land to have a bigger recreational type of user. But we're also getting interest from some pretty interesting groups too, not recreational based, but medical based. And, if that comes to fruition, we'll present it to everybody and talk about it. But it's part of our game plan is to identify not only who's interested in coming to this specific site, but who can we accommodate from a size standpoint. So that's where we are with that right now.
Okay.
All right, that's the last one. We're cutting it off.
There's a lot of real estate that can accommodate those uses too.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. I think that's it now.
Thanks.
That's it. All right, so agenda item number 3. Let's head back to the executive session real quick. We'll keep that one open. Just step back there quickly, and then we'll.
Mayor, can we do number 5? They got some folks here that could knock this one out pretty
Okay.
soon.
All right. We'll do number 5 here. All right, Council, are you guys good if we jump to agenda item number 5?
Yes.
Okay, so agenda item number 5, consideration of possible action to approve a request for waiver of the level debt service requirement for bond issuance for Brazoria County MUD 66. Bobby, can you introduce this item for us?
Well, when a MUD's created, we have some consent conditions that we impose when the MUD, when our resolution goes through. And one of the conditions is that when the MUD goes out for bond issue, they have to have level debt service, which is an accounting thing, which is beyond my pay grade, but basically it involves the payback schedule, I believe. We have one of the MUDs here has a bond issue coming up where the schedule would show, at least in part, that it would not quite meet the level debt service. So they've asked for us to waive that requirement and let them do the bond issue. And Aaliyah's here to maybe give a little bit more and maybe better explanation as to what exactly they're asking for and any implications or risk to the city.
All right, Mayor, council members, staff, first of all, thank you for allowing us to move up on the agenda. And my children also thank you. So so just to kind of remind y'all what BC MUD 66 is, that is an in-city MUD. That's Blue Water Lakes. We've actually heard a whole lot about Blue Water Lakes today as Valencia's neighbor, but that's the district. That district has a contractual obligation to pay back the water, sewer, drainage infrastructure that was advanced by the developers. And so the district would be trying to issue their final water, sewer, drainage bond issue. That's what we're here to ask you for today. And let me just say that I think that the nuance here is that the district is obligated to pay that back and to issue the debt related to that, period, right? They must pay that back. The challenge that we're dealing with here is how to do that in a way that will keep the taxes as low as possible for the residents. And so the debt that we're talking about would not be city debt. This would be issued by the MUD and the MUD only, no pledge from the city. And the financial advisor, Lauren Morales with Rathman and Associates, is also here if you have any questions for him. But the arrangement that the financial advisors have been able to do with this structuring really results in the best tax result for the residents. If we're not able to get the exemption, then the debt issuance would probably require quite a bit of shifting around of what that tax rate would be instead of being able to keep it at a more predictable level place. So Lauren can speak to any more technicalities if you have any questions on that. But that's why we're here today, is to ask for council's consideration to allow that debt to be issued in the most efficient way possible for the impact on the tax rate.
Sounds good. Thank you, Aaliyah. Just three quick questions that I have. With this debt issuance, is there a projection that if this debt is issued, the tax rate for the MUD will go up, or is it going to stay level?
So I'm going to invite Lauren to come up here because I am not the municipal advisor. You're going to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Lauren Morales with Rathman and Associates. Nice to meet you all. I've been a financial advisor for municipal utility districts and land secured districts for almost 13 years now. To answer your question, we're going to do everything we can to keep the tax rate at its current level and not increase the aggregate tax rate. Our first objective, and I think we have some space to do this, is to move as many pennies as we can from the maintenance and operations portion of the tax rate to the debt service tax rate, if that makes sense to you all, in order to not increase the aggregate tax rate.
So there is a chance that it's going to go up if issued?
There is a chance.
Okay, what would you say the probability of that is, as a numbers guy?
Yeah, that's, of course, not easy to answer, and it depends a lot on what the certified taxable assessed value will be January 1 of 2026 and in the years following. If I had to handicap it, I would say less than 50% chance that the aggregate tax rate would increase.
Okay. Second question that I have, what assumptions are built into these projections right now for you guys? Based on if we look at your debt schedule, I see that
Sure.
drop over time, so it's a downward trajectory. So we're not looking at seeing it go over the 15,000, But obviously, if you've projected out to the end of the term of the bond, do you have any assumptions that are built into that are significant variables? I mean, I'm assuming the market going up or down, that's probably the biggest one.
Sure, right. First one that comes to mind, and maybe this is what you're driving at, is I would call interest rate risk, or an assumption of what the interest rate is. Most recently here, I've assumed 5.5% interest rate. We had a bond sale last week with a district that was kind of a similar credit worthiness and a similar structure, and that interest rate was 4.78. So Brazoria 66 is not selling debt today, but if they were, I think it would be about 4.78.
Yeah, and Lauren, maybe if I could add one thing. So these are water sewer drainage bonds. We're at a very early stage. We have not yet turned the bond application into the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, because we needed to come to you first, right? So the application that goes up to the TCEQ, it will have a lot of information about the projected growth, the projected values. I think this is going up as a no-growth bond issue. So the TCEQ rules are very involved. So what we will be doing is saying to the TCEQ, assuming the value of houses on the ground today is what it remains to be, right? We're not assuming any growth. We're just assuming static. Then this is the projected tax rate. This is the projected cost to the district. And so we have to go through a process with all of our bond issues where not only do we have to meet the city consent conditions, but we must get approval from the TCEQ for the water sewer drainage bonds before they're allowed to be sold into the competitive market. And then after that, we have to get approval from the Texas Attorney General's office before we can close. And so you're kind of the very first stop because in the structuring, right, this is the most efficient way to try to keep that tax rate not only immediately, but over time at a place where it would be more reasonable for the residents.
Absolutely. The concern that I have with this is the reason why this 15,000 upward downward exists is primarily for the upward. Downward's fine. Like if it goes down greater than 15,000, I think that's great because that means that you're going to be able to lower your taxes because your debt obligation over time is less. The upward is what scares me because if it goes upward higher than 15,000, that means that you might have to tap into savings. You might have to drastically raise the tax rate later down the road in order to cover what that upward movement is. Is there a way that we can approve the waiver but restrict the upward waiver? Are you tracking with me there?
Well, as I understand it, it's a difference between the minimum and the maximum. Yeah. And so the minimum can occur at any point where the debt is being retired, where the debt is being paid, right? So it's not like, I don't believe that the provision is that the debt service is not permitted to increase 15,000 from 2026, right? It's just wherever the minimum appears and wherever the maximum appears. This structure, the objective of the structure was taken looking not only at the series in and of itself, but to your point, all of the debt of the district, right? We don't levy a tax rate to pay one series of bonds. We're levying a tax rate to pay all of the series of bonds that are issued by the district. And so as Aaliyah has said, a couple times here, the purpose of this structure is to reduce the upward pressure on the tax rate in the short and medium term.
Dan, Bobby, Tammy, my years in elected office, this is the first time that a MUD has requested this waiver. Can you explain why, we're talking about regulations in the previous agenda item, holding to our standards. Can you talk to us about why this standard exists and why we hold MUDs to these standards? I mean, our finance director is not here tonight, so we're kind of at a disadvantage a little bit.
I'd have to guess that it's to give some certainty to the residents of the MUD that they're not going to get crazy with the bond payments affecting their tax rate in a big way. It's going to be fairly level or within a certain range, would be my guess.
Go ahead, Tammy. Can you unmute? Sorry.
Yes, I think that's exactly why it's in there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you guys for answering my questions. Council, do you guys have any comments and/or questions? Councilman Bonner?
I mean, is this something that you think we're going to see with other MUDs in the future? The existing MUDs that we have here?
This is the first one I've seen the whole.
I'm trying to grasp why all of a sudden this is appearing. Is this maybe, this is for Blue Water. It's definitely not the oldest MUD in town. So I'm kind
Is
of.
this for Blue Water or Sedona Lakes?
Blue water.
Blue
Oh, it's
water.
Blue Water. Oh, I thought it was Sedona Lakes the whole time.
No.
Oh,
Blue water.
No,
I mean,
it's blue water.
I mean,
I'm tired. Sorry.
Rodeo's been out there. They've got a mud, right? It's never happened with them. Is it strictly based on less revenue coming in from, nothing to do with revenue, just strictly on down paying debt to protect issuance of bond?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't speak to the history of it, and you know, my longtime law partner, Tim Austin, this was his deal before he retired. But what I would say is, you know, we are, you know, this is a district that has already issued several bond issues for water, sewer, drainage reimbursements. This is the last one. And so, you know, when they're structuring that, they're layering it on top of what's already there, right? And trying to make sure that what is payable each year, when considered with what's already outstanding, that you get to a point where it's the best possible result in terms of keeping that tax rate low. But I will say, regardless of the decision that's made in terms of whether that exemption is granted or not, the district's obligation to pay that back stands. And the district will need to go ahead and issue debt to pay back the developer. It will just have to issue debt to pay back the developer in a way that is likely going to cause a pretty significant yo-yo effect to the tax rate.
We can go back to your first question. I think it's fair to say that if the exemption is not granted, I think we will be looking at an increase to the aggregate tax rate.
So how much is it increasing the debt, the total debt? How much will this?
The remaining authorized but unissued, of which we are issuing 100%, is $1,930,000.
And that's all that will end the authorization. For anything future, you'd have to go back to the voters.
For water, sewer, and
Homeowner
drainage.
station. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem.
And so this increase has been forthcoming. You've seen this. This is going to be coming. You've seen this for a while. This is something just popped up. Said, "Oh my gosh, we have to do this." I mean, this through the course of the development, it's like, okay, this is going to happen eventually.
The issuance of this series of bonds.
Yes.
Correct, because the reimbursables exist, and as Aaliyah has stated, the district is obligated to issue these bonds to pay back these reimbursables.
Did the reimbursables go up through the course of the development to cause this?
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, and these were costs incurred by developers years ago. I'm not sure I could say precisely when. I think
I really can't speak to that either, other than to say what the original voted authorization was. I will say it is pretty unusual for a voted authorization to be so low that it is fully maxed out. But that is, in fact, where we are here. I think it speaks more to how low the original authorization was voted rather than anything else. It's not ideal to not have any additional bonding authorization left. But in this case, because this is a district that's in city, they're not doing their own water service and not doing their own sewer service, so there's not quite the same risk that they're going to have to go out and do a whole water plant, because they're not going to have to. Thank goodness they're getting your service. But this is something that, with respect to drainage facilities, the district will maintain those, and that will be an ongoing maintenance cost. And so I would just say hindsight's always 20/20. If they were to revote them today, I'm sure I would have counseled them to do a higher number, but that's where we are right now.
And then lastly, could you tell me, I know we're talking about increase, whatever, but just do a generic idea, a house. Okay, this house is paying this much. If we get this bond and we get the waiver or the variance, whatever, this is going to happen. If we don't, can you just kind of put some numbers on it, for us?
Yeah, Aaliyah actually asked me to look into this, I think, was it last week or the week before? And I think where I ended up was approximately 3 penny difference in terms of the tax rate. So without the exemption, it would require a tax rate of 3 pennies higher. And as of the most recent, this is based off of the average homestead value, January 1, 2025, 1 penny was equal to approximately $40. So that'd be $120 every year additional that every homeowner in this district would be paying without the exemption.
Okay, thanks. That's some great clarification. Appreciate that.
So just want to ask a follow-up question. You have such surety regarding without the exemption. Do you have that same surety with the exemption?
Well, it's relative, right? And so what I'm describing is the difference with and without the exemption. You may be asking again about the tax rate in and of itself, and I have less, surety, as you say, as to where the tax rate will be with one scenario or the other. But what I can say is that between the two, the difference between the two is approximately 3 pennies. Gotcha. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
And something else that you mentioned about, going down. So what we've modeled here, the final 4 years of debt service in the aggregate are less. The maximum actually appears 5 years before the end. So if that allays any of your concerns, the final 4 years do show a decrease in the annual debt service requirements each year.
Thank you. Councilman Bonner?
Just want to say that in listening to your explanations to the homeowners in this subdivision, this sounds like probably one of the better MUD setups in the fact that the total MUD requested to begin with was not as high as some of them. Like you said before, most of them overextend, I think, the ask to begin with, and there just isn't as good an end date. How do you end this MUD as this one sounds like you have? So I appreciate that.
Well, I would say all credit there should go to Tim Austin. So.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
So are we saying that if we do approve this waiver, then they're doing away with that MUD?
No.
Okay, maybe I wasn't following as well, because what I got was that if we do the waiver, you said there was 50% probability that it could increase tax, right?
Right.
And then if we don't approve it, then there's still a possibility of the tax.
So let me just kind of go back to just the foundation, which is that the district is still there. The district will still continue. The district will still owe the payments to pay for the water, sewer, drainage infrastructure that were put in. This discussion is really whether the city would grant this exemption or this waiver to this one portion of the city's consent conditions back when the district was created to allow the district to go to market with this bond issue, where when you look at each of the maturities for this debt as it gets issued, there is more than a $15,000 difference between the lowest of those annual payments and the highest of the annual payments. But if that's approved, the financial advisor is saying that they project out that instead of having to raise the tax rate 3 cents, they would be able to keep the tax rate where it is. At least that's the intention. So I don't know if you want to restate that.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody's asking me to say what the tax rate's going to be in 2029 or 2030. I guess what I would say is in 2029 and 2030 and every year that we're issuing the debt, the tax rate's going to be whatever it has to be in order to pay these bonds, right? I mean, first and foremost, we're going to levy, that's what these bonds are. They're an unlimited tax pledge. We'll levy whatever tax rate's necessary to avoid a default. So I can't, the most important, if we want to talk about tax rate, the most important factor when considering what the tax rate will be is what is the taxable assessed value. And of course, we don't know what the taxable assessed value will be on January 1 of 2032, right? That's going to determine what the tax rate is in 2032. But what I can say is that with the exemption, that is going to put less upward pressure on the tax rate in the short and medium term, right? In kind of over the next 10 to 15 years. And it sort of provides for frankly, it provides for a more level structure for the district on the whole.
Okay.
Any other questions, Councilwoman? Okay. Council, any other comments and or questions?
One more, if you don't mind.
Yep, Mayor Pro Tem.
So this waiver, this actually would extend the length of the payback, correct?
No. No, it doesn't. And the only request in the letter is for the provision in the consent conditions that say that the lowest payment for maturity and the highest payment for maturity, as you stretch out over that period of time that it will be issued, that it can't be more than $15,000 difference. It's not changing your maturity schedule.
Right. I mean, we are within the consent conditions in terms of the length of the debt. Now, maybe to answer your question more specifically, today, before the issuance of these bonds, the final maturity for the district is 2048. With the issuance of this series, I show it as 2049.
Okay, thank you.
All right, council, do I have a motion for this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Councilman Bonner. Do I have a second? I'll second. We have a second from Councilman Oplager. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion ties. That means it fails 3-3. Is that correct, Tammy, Bobby? Okay, motion failed.
Thank you for your
everyone.
time.
Appreciate you being here tonight. Next, we have, I think now we'll go back into the executive session that we kept open from the workshop. So, Dan, if you can have whoever needs to join us back there, we'll head back. Thank you, everyone. All right. Council will reconvene from executive session and officially close it here at 8:01 p.m. Councilwoman, I think you have a motion that you want to make regarding agenda item number 5.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to reconsider.
Okay, we have a motion to reconsider agenda item number 5. The councilwoman was on the prevailing side. I will second that motion to reconsider. All those in favor to reconsider item number 5? All right, item number 5 is now back open for discussion. What we would like to do is to make a motion to postpone this for 2 weeks. Bobby, Joe's, I know Dan and Tammy aren't in here. If we can work with the requesters to get some additional information included in our packet, as well as some simplified explanations as to what the actual impact is going to be for the issuance, to the tax rate, et cetera. If they can have that back to us within 2 weeks to make a decision, that would be great. So if we can follow up with them, that would be helpful. Cool. Councilwoman, any comments?
No.
Okay. All right. Councilwoman, can you make a motion for this agenda item now? I will make a motion to postpone. Councilwoman, can you give me a second?
I would like to second.
All right, we have a motion to postpone to our next meeting in a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Okay. Dan, just to circle back, we reconsidered and then postponed agenda item number 5. So if we can follow up with Aaliyah on some information there, that'd be great. Okay, so council, we are now on agenda item number 3. This is consideration and possible action on the appointment of Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission members to fill positions number 5, position number 6, and position number 7 with a term to expire March 2028. Do I have any comments and or questions? I think we had some great applicants this year. Appreciate everyone's involvement and their desire to serve. If you don't get appointed to this board, there are a few other important boards that are coming up that we would love for you to be considered for. What I will do, Tammy, Dan, position number 5, 6, and 7, who currently fills each of these, just so we can make sure to make the appropriate motion here? I know who the 3 people are. I just don't know which number that they hold, because I'm trying to think about where they sit, but they don't sit according to how we sit. Give us 1 second here. And then if we can prep also the EDC one coming up next. We'll do the music. Do, 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 do. I feel like we just need to stare and make eye contact with each other right now.
Okay, so position 5 is Christie's position, Christy Kennard. Position 6 is Dolores Martin. Position 7 is William Richards.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So council, I will make a motion to reappoint Christy to position 5, Dolores to position 6, and Dr. Morton to position 7. Do I have a second?
I would like to second.
We have a second from Councilwoman Roby Robinson. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Thank you, William, for your service. We really appreciate you. Dr. Morton, we look forward to working with you. Next, council, we will move on to the EDC. This is agenda item number 4, consideration of possible action on the reappointments of the Manvel Economic Development Corporation Board positions number 1, Chris Durrett II, position 2, Martina McNichols, and position number 3, Donald Atkinson, with a term to expire March 2028. Do I have any comments and or questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion for this agenda item?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to reappoint all 3 individuals from Councilman Bonner. We have a second from Councilman Rossi Knox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. We thank them for their service and look forward to continue working with them. Congratulations, Donald. Agenda item number 5, we postponed that to our next meeting. Now we have agenda item number 6, this is, and I'd like to, Council, if you guys are good with this, I'd like to group agenda item number 6 and agenda item number 7 together. Are you guys open to doing that?
Yes.
Okay. So we have agenda item 6, consideration and possible action to approve resolution 2026-R-15. And agenda item number 7, consideration and possible action to approve resolution 2026-R-16. Do I have a presentation tonight? Miss Jamie is making her way downtown, walking fast. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, Jamie.
Of course. Evening, Mayor, Council. I'm not for sure which one is numbers.
Okay, so this is, the first one is going to be the grant for the body cameras.
Okay. Yes, so I'm just asking for approval to submit the resolution for body cameras for our police department. We're asking, the grant request is for a total of $126,667. It is a 25% match at $31,667. It's going to replace 50 of the body cameras, and allowing purchase of 10 additional ones. And that includes docking, charging equipment, cloud-based digital storage, and evidence management platform for them.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. Council, any comments or questions about the body camera grant?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lance?
Could you repeat those numbers, please?
Yes, sir. We're asking for a total of $126,667. The grant's going to cover $95,000.
Of that 126?
Yes, sir. And the match for the city will be $31,667.
Okay, so we put the money out first, and then we get a rebate.
This grant, I believe, they give us their portion, and we will just cover it's not a proactive. You have to buy with the grant money. It's not a rebate. Does that make sense?
Sure, okay. And you said we're replacing 50?
If I may, we are working on replacing our entire video system, our body camera and our mobile video system. This grant is a common grant that is offered through the state of Texas of the Office of Governor for body-worn cameras primarily, not our mobile video system. I'll be coming back to council with a budget item for next year's budget to replace the video system in our patrol units. This is just an addition to that to help supplement the cost of the entire program we're going to have to replace in the upcoming budget.
Okay, but that's, I'm stuck on the word replace. So we have them now, and we're going to...
Our body-worn camera systems and our video systems in the cars are outdated.
Yep.
They have
body cam now, cars later.
Correct. We're going to implement this system at the same time, but this is going to cover the cost of the body cameras.
Okay.
This grant would not cover a car, like it was very specific. It would only cover like the physical body camera, the docking station to charge. So the grant is written for only specific pieces. I know that they are going for the whole system. I was just able to write the grant to help cover the cost of those specific items.
Okay, and then 10 additional.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about any software we got to worry about on this, or?
That is going to be part of the upgrade we're going to be asking for in the upcoming budget. We're actually looking at two systems right now. Just past history, several years ago, this before anybody, I think Mayor Davis might have been the only one on council at the time. As back in 2019, I believe, we went through a change to our body camera system, which we went to the WatchGuard body cameras several years ago, I don't remember, it's 2018 or 2019. That has since run its course. They are no longer, Motorola actually bought WatchGuard system out, and now they have come up and we've been piecemealing it together for the past couple of years, trying to keep it running the best we can. But now Motorola has come up and said the system we're currently using is outdated, and they're no longer going to support that system, so we have to look at new systems. We're actually either looking to upgrade with a new Motorola system, or go to another system which is called Axon, which is basically the same thing. They have different bells and whistles to them. We're looking and comparing the two. What we will do is, if this grant is approved, it'll be about the same time that we will be looking at this new system in the upcoming budget year, and we'll be able to present at that time which system we have looked at to go through, which is going to better support the police department. So it could be either Axon or the Motorola system. We just hadn't got that far yet. This grant is a grant that has been applied through the state of Texas for many years, ever since the body-worn camera system has been in place. The problem is they don't cover the mobile video system, so we have to look at both systems and combine them together. This is going to give us probably a third, maybe, of the cost that we're going to be looking at to implement the system.
It does cover, with the public service grants, you can have 1 year, whatever the term of that grant is, you can have 1 year of software.
Correct.
So we'll be able to purchase 1 year of the agreement of software. So it does cover a small portion of it, but that's the portion of the grant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilman Bonner?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, we were going to have to do this anyway. It just happened that the grant became available so that we could cover part of the cost.
The grant's available every year. This comes out through the office. The grant is really specifically for smaller agencies that don't have the funding for it, but anybody can apply for it. It's just to a certain amount.
Good timing.
But you're correct. It's going to be part of what we're going to try to do in the upcoming budget.
And is the software you mentioned 1 year, is that time from the grant being approved or from the equipment being purchased?
It's from the time that the end of the grant. So if it's a 36-month grant, it'll be at the end of that 36 months. Because a grant has a term of when you have to spend and close out. So whatever the term of that grant's going to be. I believe it is August 31st of 2027.
Okay, but we'll be purchasing well before that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Jamie, only question that I have, and Chief, you made me feel old there. Saying I was the only one back on council. Don't know what I think about that. Jamie, with any grant, it's never free money. There's always conditions, requirements. One of them is, to spend it by a certain time. What other requirements or conditions are within this grant that we need to be aware of?
There's nothing with this grant. You have to do just the general audit, which Rosie will be a part of, and for financial reasons. But other than that, there's no other.
Perfect. Thank you. Council, any other questions about this grant? All right, Jamie, can you introduce the next one for us for the Active Threat Preparedness Modernization Initiative? It's a mouthful.
Yeah, I really tried to come up, it's more.
More.
Yeah, so this grant is currently being written. I'm in the process of doing it. It's also for the Public Safety Governor grant that was released. They like 30 days. They give us 30 days to write these grants. So this initiative is for a deployable vehicle. We already have a mobile command trailer, but when this grant came available and I realized that we would score extremely high, we're going to submit 2 grants next agenda. You'll hear about the other grant. But this one is for a 24-foot, think of it like it looks like an ambulance almost. It has the square body, but it's drivable. And the reason why we want to go to that mobile command, it's going to be focused on mobile command and emergency rapid communication. 2 things, it's easy to drive. You don't have to have a CHL or any other special driver's license to drive it. It's rapidly deployable. So one thing around us, this is considered UASI money. And if you know anything about UASI money, it's considered a regional asset that you have to be able to, if somebody calls you up and says, hey, can we borrow this? If you can, be like, hey, yeah, it's available, you can use it. So that's one of the stipulations with the UASI grant. So with this, all around us, there is extensively very large mobile commands. We're talking about 42-foot gooseneck trailers, huge RVs, nothing that is of essence small enough to get into an incident that might just be a neighborhood or limited mobility or a quick readiness. Most of the assets around us are 40, I'm just going to say an hour plus. That includes getting somebody to drive it, a trailer, whatever the case may be. So I found and noticed this need and talked to UASI about it and asked for local resources, and there was none around us for this. So I'm writing the grant for this vehicle, and along with it, it will be a rapid communication. So we'll have the ability it'll have approximately 10 Motorola radios along with a patching system in it. So the reason for the additional radios is if we have a major event and additional officers show up, we can give radios that are already patched to our system while we're patching their system together. If you don't know anything about radio systems, is we might have a channel, it's a secure channel, but the other agencies that come in will not have access to that channel. Because of the incident we need to have clear communication. This will give them the ability to have clear communication with our first responders, whatever the case may be, or with other agencies. There is no other vehicle or unit like that in our area for the communication that I'm requesting for. This grant is 100% covered, and I'm writing it somewhere. I don't, like I said, I'm in the process of writing this grant. The resolution doesn't need the exact numbers, but now with the governor's grant, you have to have the resolution before you can even submit the grant. So this is where we're at. I put in there about between $450,000 to $500,000 for the grant and all the equipment. And that includes everything, computers, TVs, turnkey, graphics, everything.
That sounds exciting, Jamie.
I'm very excited. Knock on wood, hopefully we do good. When I ran it through and looked at everything, we scored a 49 out of 50, so that's pretty high. Whether they score it that way is always the catch, but I'm very hopeful.
Jamie, would it help if we were able to get letters of support from our representatives, our state senator, our U.S. congressman?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Yes, 100%. I'm working on getting Brazoria County, surrounding areas, letters of support. That would be immensely helpful.
Let me know if you guys want to reach out. I can possibly help with that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Not to sound like a broken record before I open it up to council, strings attached, conditions.
Yes, so the only strings attached with this is it's considered UASI, it's regional money. So that means if somebody has an incident and they call up like, Jamie, what we'll do is we'll do it through dispatch. Hey, we have this incident, can we use your mobile command? If it's available and we have somebody that can drive it, sure. If not, it's okay to say no. We use other assets. In fact, Lake Jackson used UASI money to get these amazing barricades. We're going to use them for our Easter egg and some other events. And so that's kind of, you just call them up. They have them available. Great. It's give and take. That way we're all sharing and able to utilize everything around us. So it'd be that kind of asset. But other than that, that's the only string attached.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. We'll go. Dan, did you have something?
I was just going to mention, for those that went to the BCCA meeting here a couple of weeks ago, and y'all got some information about the GLO grant, I believe this is this.
Not the GLO grant.
That's the next one that's coming up?
No.
Okay. Barrel.
Barrel, yes. The GLO is barrel.
Yes. Which one is that one going to be?
The GLO barrel?
Yes.
We're still working on a project. I do have one, but I'm not ready to discuss it in front of council yet.
Okay.
It's a good thing. I mean, from a few years ago when we had no grants, like to try to figure out which grant we're talking about, love it. That's great.
Oh, we have quite a few on. Trust me, we recently got one and I was like, can we write this real quick? And I was like, can we just table it, please?
Awesome. Councilman Bonner, we'll go to you and then Mayor Pro Tem.
How are some of the agreements written as far as we loan it out to someone, it gets damaged? How does things like that work?
So I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not for sure because we own it, yes, but it's part of the UASI. So I'm not for sure because we have to maintain insurance on it and I believe it's our responsibility, but don't hold that to me because I've never seen the UASI full contract to know how that all stipulates.
Any idea of maintenance costs per year?
Yes. I left that, but yes, it was very minimal on it. Of course, when it's new, it's just it's a standard vehicle, so it'd be diesel cost for oil change, regular maintenance.
Okay. You mentioned if we have somebody available. I'm just trying to figure out, I can see this being used a lot, maybe, especially with the small size of it, because I have seen where that's a problem, getting the big ones, you just can't get them in.
No.
If you do get them in, you end up blocking everything that really needs to happen. So I'm worried about that, taking an officer. I mean, would they just have to drive it there, and then they can come back and resume duty, or do we have to have an officer stay with it all the time?
Chief, can you speak to that?
Yes, we in the previous city I worked at, we had a similar situation with a tactical vehicle that we purchased, and when we purchased that vehicle, we actually presented it as a regional vehicle, and we did utilize that in other cities. But our rule of thumb at the time was the vehicle didn't roll unless it had a city employee driving it, and it was usually one of our tactical team members that drove the vehicle and drove them around and let them do it. So if we did something like this, we can actually have an MOU or an interlocal agreement with everybody that comes up and basically says, that yes, the vehicle's available, that if you need it, we'll send a representative with it, use it as you wish. Any damage or anything like that, they would be responsible for. But for safekeeping, since it is our vehicle and part of the agreement is to put it out, then we would have somebody go with it just to make sure that nothing happens to it.
Because we're carrying the insurance on it too. I would
Yes.
think
That's correct.
driver-wise, we'd want to maintain.
And that's what we did with our tactical vehicle we had, and believe me, I drove it all over southern Missouri County, even up to Pearland, to assist in a bank robbery in Pearland. So there are some things that we can put in place to actually protect the investment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem?
Chief pretty much said the word I was looking for was tactical. So I know this 24-foot, that's a pretty good-sized mobile command vehicle. And I know it's by no means is it going to be a SWAT vehicle. It's not going to be armored. But we could use it in a tactical situation. It could have, I'm just trying to picture a 24-foot vehicle. Yeah, you're going to have computers, probably a mobile, like a desk. Will it be equipped with weapons? Will it have, no?
No, this is for a mobile command unit.
Okay.
It's like what we have now. We have a trailer that we purchased years ago. The Fire Marshal's Office purchased it. And it was designed as a mobile command area. Back then, the Fire Marshal didn't do anything with it, so we basically took it over and we modified it, and we have it actually set up to where the back part of it is where is the working area, the front part is a dispatch area, kind of like the mobile command. But in order for us to deploy it, we got to get a truck big enough to pull it, and that's usually we have to call Public Works out because it's a heavy trailer. With this setup we're talking about, it's mobile. You get in it, you drive it. It's kind of like your mid-level RV. Pearland, they have a 40-foot unit. League City has a 40-foot unit. The Sheriff's Department, they just basically did the same thing with a UASI money, and they got a 40-foot gooseneck that they pull as a command trailer. This is kind of your mid-level, but to answer your question, that can be used for tactical situation, can be used for forward command, tactical operations, but it's not a tactical vehicle that will carry a SWAT team into action. That's something we're going to ask for in another grant later on in the upcoming future. We're already looking at that. But this is more of like a forward command. If the inevitable happened, or that's not a good word.
I was like this.
If something happens of a critical incident, let's just use a mass shooting. We're seeing more and more of those. That can be deployed out on the scene as a forward command for the operation, because you can have separate operations going on during one of those incidents. This is going to be something that we have out there because you're going to have so many officers out there. You can have so many things going on.
If you look on the screen right here.
That's actually kind of what we're going to be looking at, something of that nature.
So just curious, why would there not be, why would this not be used to carry weapons up under in a situation that's needed?
Two different situations.
Okay.
We're talking about emergency command or a command post as compared to tactical operation.
This is, I'll show you the inside. This is for those decision-making, the ability, when you have those high-profile cases, you need to get away from, the chaos of the scene or from even media. So it's the ability to get into a quiet area where you can make those decisions. If the mayor's not available, it would be you or mayor, when we just need to have those moments to either brief together. It is a vehicle that has a lot of going in and out. So to carry weapons or have that kind, it's just not secure for that. It's just not built for that.
Okay, good.
Even your tactical vehicles that we utilize in the police response, they don't carry weapons in the vehicles. The officers carry the weapons. So it doesn't have like an armor you see like Air Force One, where you got the armor, you open the door and you got all these weapons. That's not what, even tactical vehicles don't even have that set up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other comments or questions, Council? All right, we have both of these combined together. Thank you, Chief, for answering those questions. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes.
Appreciate all of your work.
Fantastic job, Jamie.
Thank you.
I just see David driving this van like off a ramp into battle.
So if you get it, would you paint it the colors of the emergency management?
Yes. My fingers are writing the grant.
No, it's kind of like the trailer we have now. It's emergency operations.
Okay, so you get it.
It'll be green.
It'll be green.
There's going to be a new maroon stripe for city administration.
All right, council, do we have a motion for this agenda item? Mayor Pro Tem, can you make a motion for this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve items 6 and 7.
All right, we have a motion to approve items 6 and 7, a second from Councilman Bonner. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Jamie.
Council.
Thank you, Chief. All right, agenda item number 8, consideration of possible action to approve resolution 2026-R-05. Chad, I think we're going to have you present this agenda item.
Afternoon, Mayor and Council. The last update we had for our personnel policy was April of 2024. Best practices is to at least review or revise every 2 years. So we're right in that sweet spot to go ahead and get this done. We have a total of 5 changes that we're looking at this year. The first one is on page 29 of the personnel policy. This is the dependent coverage. Right now, we have that set at new hires through 1 year. Basically, we do not take care of dependent coverage. That's at 0% that we pay. At 1 year through 3, we pay 50%, and then at 3 years, we pay 100%. We're looking to change that where we're dropping the 0% for all the new hires for 1 year and have new hires through 3 years of service at a 50% cost. This is going to help us out tremendously when it goes out for recruiting purposes. The second change that we're looking at is on page 46 through 47. This is FEMA. This is tidying up our verbiage to where we're more in standard with the federal government code. Currently, the way ours is written, someone could technically open up a FEMA claim in November and then try to roll things over with a new FEMA claim, FMLA claim on January 1st. So this is stopping that and getting us more in the federal guidelines. The third is on page 52. That is fraternization. This is something that we were lacking in our personnel policy, so we're adding that. Next, on 96 through 108, this is emergency management. And again, since we brought Jamie on board, our previous policy just had quick snippets for here and there. She's really gone down and put things in exactly what was needed. Last is the grievance policy on page 113 through 114. Again, tidying up the language, making sure that roles and responsibilities for managers and directors, and then if an employee does separate with the city as far as what the roles and responsibilities for the city manager, making sure those guidelines. The staff would like to see this approved by council so that we can start rolling this out to staff and getting acknowledgments forms later this week. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chad. Council, just as a call out, when the motion's made, we just need to make sure it addresses March 2nd rather than March 3rd, just as a procedural item. So, Councilman Bonner, do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, Chad, item number 1, when would this take effect? And what do we see, if it's going to take effect before the end of the budget year, do we see the implications to cost?
Absolutely, great question. We have a couple of options for this. Again, this was not budgeted, so we could have this start effective October 1, which is the new benefit year. Now, just as a cautionary tale, all of our employees who have signed up we are contractually obligated with Texas Health. They cannot make a change to their status of their health care as far as going from employee only to adding a spouse or adding a child. They can't do that unless there is a life-changing event, such as a birth, a death, adoption of a child, someone of that nature. We could prorate this back to January 1st. Currently, we have, let me grab my notes here. We currently have 26 employees that are at 0%. Of that 26, only 3 are currently using dependent care. 2 are at employee plus spouse, and 1 is employee plus child. Those employees hired on in January and February, so the effective dates, if we were to prorate, would be February and March. If we were to go back, you'd be looking at to take care of those 3 employees, a total of $9,466. Another option would be to make this effective the next billing cycle. So we're already into March. We would make this effective April 1st. And for those employees, that would bring the cost down to $7,325.
Okay. Or the third option is, like you say, make it effective October the 1st, where it would be budgeted then.
Yes, sir. That would go ahead and allow for our employees that are currently signed up. They would continue until we go into our next benefit year, and they would have the option in open enrollment, which will take place in the first week of August, to make any changes.
I'm pretty sure $9,000 isn't going to probably affect as much as it would assist. Rosie's not here, but so I don't know what the current status is of general fund. I'm assuming this money would come out of general fund to go to that department's budget.
If I can talk about that first. So I had a chance to talk to Rosie about this today. So the 3 employees that we're talking about are all in the public safety department, and all 3 of the new employees that are about to start that it would impact are in the public safety department. So because they haven't been, these positions haven't been filled yet, we have lapsed salary. So it more than covers that $10,000. So again, out of all the employees, there are only 3 that are paying 100% out of pocket for their dependent coverage. So if council were open to it, I'd recommend that we start at January 1 so that we can catch those folks up. I mean, I'm not proposing that we reimburse or anything like that, but just, from this point forward.
Okay, thank you.
I'll piggyback off of Councilman Bonner. Chad, of those 26 employees that are within the first year, there's a chance that some of them just haven't signed up their dependents because maybe they have a spouse or they have another form of coverage for them. Do we know how many of those 26, if we make this change, could potentially opt in on August 1st? Because if all 26 opt in, you're looking at close to a $250,000 hit on the annual budget.
Sure. So the stats say otherwise.
Okay.
When we look at employees going from the 0% to the 50%, right now we have 36 individuals that are in between 1 and 3 years. Only 17 of those have signed up for dependent insurance, which is a breakdown between 5 employee and spouse, 11 employee and children, and 1 employee and family. And that 1 employee and family is just an oddity. Most folks wait until year 3 when we cover 100% before adding the family insurance. So last year when we went through this, as far as employees moving up into the 50%, I think we averaged at around 10 or 11 employees that did make the change, which we normally would have, but I don't see any significant jump as far as if we were to go ahead and move forward with these 26.
So you have a high level of confidence that these 26, maybe we'll have 2 or 3 that opt in August, but
You'll have a few. You'll have a few. The biggest category that employees choose is the employee and child. That's the least amount of hit. They're allowed to have as many children on this plan as they have. Normally, the employees hold off on putting the family insurance, or if their spouse is working, they just go ahead and put the employee and children and wait for the 100% hit that happens at 3 years of seniority.
Dan, kind of lean on you here. What's our 3-year projection look like regarding employee growth? I know we add a few employees every year, so this is going to be a reoccurring cost that's going to continue to increase. So what's that look like for us?
That's a timely question. So I've got a meeting next week with our efficiency auditors. He's going to go through the draft report with me. So I don't know yet. He hasn't shared that with me. The first part of the report was looking at some other things, looking at sort of penetration tests. Then the next part is, what is our staffing going to look like? Other than, of course, PD's got theirs. Do y'all hear that? Mm-hmm. Am I too close? Is that better? So I don't know yet, Mayor, but that's a great question. There's only so much that we can expand and growth. As far as room that we've got, that's not going to be an issue anymore for the police department. We've got plenty of room over there. Finally, Public Works is finally going to have their. That's always been the limiting factor. So, okay. I should have some information. I don't know if it'll be at the next meeting, but relatively soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting some good echo with yours for some reason. Second question that I have, and Chad, you may be able to speak more to this one. With taking into consideration our hourly rates and salaries, we cover 100%. I think we're one of the only regional employers that covers 100% at year 3. Next level, take-home vehicles, all of the offering. With making this change to the 50% upon hire, where does that place us regionally regarding overall compensation package?
I think overall compensation, we're still in the upper echelon for that. This is going to help us. Just because we're in the upper echelon now, that doesn't mean that we're going to stay there if we just stay with what we currently have. Other cities are looking at their benefit plans, looking at their salary rates, and they are catching up. I see this as just very beneficial for us on the recruiting side when we are looking at those cities, to where if we do have an individual that is having some of their dependent care, what have you, already being paid for, they're not being penalized making the switch to the city by going down to 0.
Thank you for that. I'm in support of this, council, tonight. It's just the one thing that plays in the back of my head is the ongoing obligation that we have. We made the retirement increase, which is going to be a $750,000 hit in this budget. Now this, I think if we just understand that which I'm going to vote in favor of this tonight. I think all of the policy changes are great. If we continue to make these mid-year financial commitments, it's going to lessen our position around budget time to be able to give salary raises, to be able to hire new positions, to be able to do equipment, unless we potentially raise taxes or our sales tax numbers just shoot through the roof. Right now, we're projecting a 10% year-over-year growth in sales tax, which is great. We really need that to be up to between 20 to 30% to hit the numbers that we want in order to be able to do the new things plus take care of these commitments. So I more so say that for public edification, and I know that we have employees that watch these meetings. We want to take care of them, and this is a good change to make. I know it's going to help tremendously for those 3 employees, and I love that. I'm going to be a broken record here and just say we have to be very, very cautious about downstream impacts. So thank you guys for bringing these forward. I can tell you did a lot of research for these. Jamie, thank you for writing up the section regarding emergency management. Definitely support these tonight, just keeping that top of mind. So thank you, Chad, for answering my questions, and Dan.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions, council? Do I have a motion for this agenda item? All right, we'll give the motion to approve to Mayor Pro Tem. We'll give the second to Councilman Rossi Knox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously 6-0. All right, we'll now move on to mayor and council comments. Any council comments? Yes,
I have an event that I put together today, so for everyone watching, I'm doing my third annual garden party. We basically, I'm pairing with Keep Manvel Beautiful this year, and it's going to be on April 11th. That's this Saturday, the second Saturday in April, and it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 4835 Patterson Road. It's at the dead end. We have food and people come out, do a tour of the garden. We teach people how to grow vegetables and they can do a tour of the property. And so it's something unique that our community doesn't really get to do.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, just a few upcoming events. There's a charity car show that's being put on by the Old Pearland Farmers Market that's happening this Saturday. We also have our Manvel Market that's happening this Saturday. I'm going to be speaking at an event on the evening of March 12th, giving a State of the City update for an area club. And I want to express my appreciation to Mayor Pro Tem Lands for leading the last council meeting. You did a fantastic job, sir. I need to take some notes from you on how to run a meeting. So thank you for stepping in as we celebrated my daughter's birthday. Job well done.
My counseling is still underway,
I know you did so good. I think I might have you do it again in April there. But we'll add a little bit more to this next agenda. Maybe a few public hearings, like lengthy public hearings. I think those would be good there. All right. Council, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? We have a second from the councilwoman. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously 6-0. Thank you, everyone, and good night.